What we do here is go back.
How's it going, everyone, and welcome to episode 73 of the Lost Media Podcast. Today we're talking about Tiny Toons, One Beer, the banned Tiny Toons episode. This is next level. I completely forgot about this. I first saw this in 2015. Yes, we're mentioning again. Blame It on George's top 40 lost or banned episodes of kid shows, and I couldn't believe it was a real thing that they made, even back then. But I never really researched it properly and tried to watch the episode. I was just like, wow, that's so cool. Next topic in the list video. I was like, next. When you actually watch this episode back, holy crap, it is crazy that this was a little kid's show. They put this in a show designed for toddlers, for little kids. And it's a good public service announcement for teenagers or something, but for Tiny Toons, this is amazing. So what kind of happened was, it was banned from television after a lot of complaints from the public, obviously, and after a lot of people saying, we don't want to see this on TV. We don't want our kids seeing this and mimicking it. I'm going to get to that later. This can't air. We don't want this on TV. So Warner Brothers banned it from airing, and it is still available in like DVD box sets that ended up being released for Tiny Toons, but it never aired again after the initial complaints. It is one of the first episodes, I believe, of Tiny Toons, and is just a hilarious story. The general plot of the episode is little Bugs, little Porky Pig, and little Daffy Duck. I don't know their names in the show. They open the fridge and they go, wow, do you guys want a cola, orange juice, or a beer? And there's just a beer sitting there on its own in the fridge and nothing else around it. And they're all just like, no, I don't think we're allowed that. And Bugs is like, quit being losers, all of you. And remember, and he turns to the camera. That wasn't a good camera turn. Let's try that again. And he turns to the camera. This is the alcohol awareness episode where we teach you not to drink. He literally says that to the audience. Not in those exact words, but yeah, I think that's for the parents to try and say, hey, yeah, this is a tongue-in-cheek. That doesn't sell it well. This is a PSA type episode where we teach kids that drinking is bad. It's not good. So there's that being mentioned, but the episode, it takes a turn. They all go to the park and they haven't drank it yet, but they're all like throwing the beer around to one another going, you drink it, you drink it, you drink it. And then they're like, okay, it's the person whose idea it was who should start first. And Bugs takes a sip and goes, whoa. And then Daffy takes a sip and has the same reaction, and Porky the same reaction. And then the animation changes and it goes into multicolors and all this, head spinning type animation. And within just a few seconds, they're drunk. And they're drunken Tiny Toons. And then as the scenes go on, they end up being bums walking around the city, dressed as bums, all drunk from this one beer. And they go, look, chicks! And the female counterparts of them meet up with them and go, ew, you're drunk, and run off. And then they sneak up on a police car, hop in the police car, and turn that on, start the car and drive off. And they're drunk driving in a stolen police car. And the speed picks up. He goes, oh, look, what's this? Cruise control. Presses the cruise control button, sits back. Obviously, the joke that cruise control is driving the car itself in a lot of cartoons. They go in the subway, but accidentally drive into that, and they get all scared, and the animation turns them into skeletons. Like, this is not for kids. I don't know who this is made for. It's what I'm thinking. And then they get out of the subway and start driving off out of the map. It says, now leaving reality in the sign. And they're driving up this mountain up and up and up all the road, and then they go off the side of the mountain. The car is falling in the air for quite a long amount of time, and then it crashes, and a really horrible car crash into the ground. And then they start flying up in the air as angels. And then at the end of the episode, they take their angel outfit off and walk off the sound stage. Yeah, see, kids would figure that out. That it's they walk off the sound stage and they go, do you think that was a good message for the kids? Yeah, I think that was a good message for the kids. That's Tiny Toons One Beer. Shocking. I can't believe it got banned, really. I mean, really good educational video for 3-year-olds. The great thing about this is there was an interview on stage with the person who made this, who went on to do a bunch of animations. But the first thing he ever worked on at Warner Brothers or in any animation company was One Beer. And I don't think he wrote it, but he was assigned to animate for it and, being part of the production team for it. And he was just shocked at what he was working on and enthusiastically told the story about the episode to the audience, but then said what happened after it was aired was the letters started coming in and they started flooding in. And the funniest letter and the most amazing letter he read, I don't know if that's him verbatim saying the funniest letter, but the letter I remember the most is this woman writing in saying, our son, she said, you should be ashamed of yourself. You're disgraceful. Our son watched this episode, went to the fridge and started chugging, probably the American terminology, a beer. And it's a little 3-year-old watched this episode and just started sculling his dad's beer from the fridge. This actually happened when this went to air. And as soon as letters like that get sent through to Warner Brothers, that episode's getting banned. Even if they're talking shit or if they're just, being a bit over the top, that's enough to get an episode banned easily. So funny. Now, guys, I don't know the exact year time frame that this was lost for. Again, this is another one of those cases of lost media where it's lost during the years before lost media becomes a thing on the internet, and these cases of lost shows become, topics of interest. So it would have been lost for a while before the home media release of Tiny Toons, because this never re-aired ever on television. It aired a few times, I think. The person who made it said it kept airing over and over, and then they just cut it when they're like, no, this has to be banned. So Warner Brothers bans it, but it does, of course, get that home media release. And once something gets a home media release, it's, everyone can watch it at any time. But it's interesting, the upload onto YouTube that I've featured in the background, as well as the interview, it has the television watermark in the bottom right corner of the screen. Now, this is something I've talked about a lot on the Lost Media podcast, or not a lot, but recently I've talked about this. How does something that aired only a handful of times get found with its original broadcast? Now, I think it's Teletoon. That's the channel that it was airing on. So it might not have been its original broadcast channel. It might have been re-aired years later, with people forgetting, it just staying in the Tiny Toons library and people forgetting, hey, this is a banned episode that can't be aired on television. I think that's the case, actually. And someone just hit the record button. They're like, One Beer? No way this is being aired. I think that's probably what happened, actually. So very, very cool to find the watermark version, considering that most, known copies of this are from DVD. But as I said, it's from an age where the internet didn't really get a hold of lost media cases yet and didn't really become fascinated in cases of lost media. So this was found before anyone could start even looking for it. It's just a really fascinating piece of something crazy that that was made, that I really wanted to talk about here today on the Lost Media podcast. And it's just such a funny thing that happened. I love it. I love the story. I can't believe the story of the 3-year-old that started sculling the beer. Probably a good thing this thing got banned. It's too kids aren't gonna, know what message that the animators are trying to show, or Warner Brothers are trying to bring out and educate people on. They're not gonna have any clue. They're just gonna start chugging a beer, obviously. So that's sculling. Sorry, I hate the term chugging. I'm Australian. Sculling is how you say it. Very, very funny though. Good message on the dangers of alcohol, Warner Brothers. Well done with Tiny Toons, your little kids animated show meant designed for toddlers and 5 years old and below. Unbelievable. Crazy that this actually happened. My God. A really, really cool case of lost media, once banned media. I'm sorry, I wish I knew the exact years it was banned for and subsequently lost to the viewing public. Obviously, in archives, I don't know the exact years. You guys can correct me in the comments. I should have looked up home media releases before this podcast. I've done a lot of research for the recordings I'm doing today. And this is one of those ones where probably the coolest thing, the most important thing, I didn't do my research on, and that is how many years this was lost for. So I apologize. But all we know is this was lost for a certain period of time, and obviously because of it being banned, and nobody was able to get their hands on this. And there would have been people looking for it in that time frame before the home media release had one beer on it. So awesome. So awesome. I love it. It's crazy, but it's kind of just a bit of a mistake from Warner Bros. Of them not really realizing, them trying to do an educational episode, but it's just no. Thanks guys so much for watching episode 73 of the Lost Media podcast. Once again, I say this at the end of every podcast until I stop recording them for a little while, but keep uploading them. I've got 3 videos coming out on the channel. When you see the thumbnails and the titles, don't worry, it's not anything the channel's turning into. The channel is a Lost Media channel. These are 3 videos, only 3 in the history of this channel probably, that are being uploaded that have nothing to do with Lost Media. So they're just some passion projects of mine, and I wanted to dump them on this channel because I feel like people would get a kick out of them. And this channel actually does have a video that is in relation. There's the most viewed video on this channel that has a lot of similarities to the content those 3 videos I'll be uploading. So there is some people who subscribe to the channel and who have my channel on their radar, who maybe will click on them and watch it and enjoy. But we'll have to see how we go. There's more information on it at the end of every episode, from like 66 to 70, episode 76 of the Lost Media podcast. I'm mentioning it just so I can drill the point home that whenever you see that, when it comes up, don't worry, I'm not changing the content of this channel. It's just 3 one-off special event videos. And I'm going to do a little disclaimer of me sitting here before the videos as well. So, yeah, which probably will be filmed today. Thanks again, guys. Episode 73 of the Lost Media podcast. I got to finish this. 1 beer, good fun. Definitely watch it. The link's in the description. It's greatness. Oh, God.